Welcome back to Artisan of Glimmith. I've got a lot of new level 7 puzzles for you, including a new mechanic, the Inequality, where the tip points towards the smaller region. All regions must have different shapes and an area between 2 and 6. Okay, so the question is, where's the 2? Well, so ideally you want to look for like the biggest chain, right? We have something that's greater than another thing, which it must at least extend out. So we know that this thing is going to be greater than this thing, which is going to be greater than this thing, which is a chain of 4. So it's either 3 to 6 or 2 to 5, or maybe 2 to 6. Oh, and we also have an increasing chain of, an increasing chain of 2 by here? Wait, so it must go 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2. I'm just color coding this based on the keyboard shortcut. So we know this is the 4, which must extend out here, and then the 2 extends out here. That's our only 2. So now the 6 must go out at least that far. And I don't know what I'm doing with the 5 and the 3. 3 is not going to come over because 3 is not greater than 4. So it's going to go up. And I guess if you have 4 being greater than something, that's always going to be a 3. So then the 5 must extend out. And actually, these are going to be the only 2 3s as well, because there's only an elbow macaroni and a straight line. And I don't have to know which it is, because now all the rest of the shapes are going to be 4, 5s, and 6s. So if you have like 2 inequalities, you know it's going to be a 6 into a 5 into a 4. And I could do that here, 6, 5, 4, and over here, 6, 5, 4. Now, what do I want to do with that? Well, I can work with choke point rules, where this 6 must come up at least that far, and at least must extend here and then cover the space the 3 does not, or cover both. And then the upper section, 6 must expand out, 4 must at least get to here, and no more. Oh, there's also a 6, 5, 4 in the center here. The 5 should extend. And on the bottom, the 6 must come out this way, can't be on both sides of the same line, and the 4 must extend at least once. Now, there's only 5 4 pieces, and they're all so far apart that you know they're going to be different. So I could try to figure out which 4 pieces which, or I could realize that since that's all the 4 pieces, now there's no more 4 pieces. So now if we look at areas with a single inequality, we can guarantee it's a 6, then a 5. 6, 5, 6, 5. Which I do admit, the 6 and 5 looks kind of similar, so I'm going to go darker blue for the 6. Yeah, that should hopefully make things more clear. 6 and 5. 6, 5, 6, 5. Okay, 5's got to extend out at least to one of the others. And 6, 5. Wait, no, it keeps going. 6, 5. And we have 6, 6, 5. Now, at least this 6 can extend out. And then we know this 5 must at least go this far, which means the 6 must merge and actually complete our 6. Then we can complete a 5, which extends up here, and then complete the 4, which comes out. And then the 6 must fill in both spaces and complete the 3. And that 3 is a macaroni, so the next one's going to be an L piece, which means that something's up. Oh, shoot, this 6, 5 doesn't have to be a 6, 5. That was my mistake. It could actually be a 5, 4, because the 4 could reach over to be the L piece. And because we've had this walk off, it's actually forced to be that, so the 5 can merge to here. Okay, so no more L piece. Just checking, this can't be a 4. Right, so we have to have another 6 and 5 here, which means the 5 piece must extend here, and then our new 5 piece must fill in... Oh, wait, this doesn't have to be a 5 piece, this could be a 6 piece. And we know that because that's the only way we can deal with the 6 in the corner. It has to merge here and become this 6 piece. Okay, glad I cleared all that up. I definitely have a 5 that can go into here. And if I do this, I'll have a duplicate piece. So it's got to be a T piece. This 6 must at least merge to here. So we have 4 of them. And actually, it does have to merge with the other 6, just because there's going to be no escape. So 6 goes here, 5 goes here. No more U piece. I guess this 6 piece could go out by 1 more. And, well, on the other side of the line could just be a different 6 piece. Actually, I do know the 4 can't go all the way back here because we'd have 2 long pieces. So this must at least be a 6. So then this can't merge over because we'd have a 1 piece. And I guess we actually have 3 of the 4 pieces. So the last 2 are the T piece and the 2x2. The only 2x2 can be up here, which means the other piece must be a T piece. And then we can start combining some 5s. have this extend out quite far. This 6 piece must extend down all the way to here, which means this 5 must come up. And it's actually got to merge with the other 5 piece, make a little P. This 6 must merge out, come down, come up. Then we need the big B. And then the 6 piece at least gets this far. But we already have this 6 piece. And it can't leave behind a small section. So the only piece left is this, which actually does leave behind a 6 piece. We're now going to look at this 6 piece up here. Must at least... Actually doesn't have to extend here. It could go like this. So I can't confirm anything yet. I guess this 6 piece has to extend by 2. And the only way of doing so without leaving behind an awkward area is that. How many 5 pieces do I have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 12. There's plenty of 5 pieces still to be found. Although, if this were one of them, it would have to make this shape, which we already have. So it must be a 6 piece, which can't be on both sides of the same line. Now, I have a hunch we don't use every 5 and 6 piece, although this would be a genuinely amazing puzzle if so. I mean, this is already an incredible puzzle because the negative space actually looks like an inequality sign as well. You gotta love like all the subtle details that have gone into this. Although, out of curiosity, how many 6 pieces have I already done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. And how many are there? How many hexaminos are there? Yeah, there's 35. We are definitely not using all of them. All right, maybe I could look at this one that's been angry with me for a while. It wants to merge, I just don't know who yet. And what I'm wondering is, what if it did not merge with this piece? Right, we drew a line instead. Might as well try like a proof by contradiction. Well, this would be a valid shape, and so would this. No, it wouldn't. That blocks it off, so it would have to be this shape. But this coming out, what could I do with that? Oh, a load of things, I suppose. I could do like this shape, or merge and do that shape. Long L, which has not been done yet. There's a lot of shapes I could do. What about the converse? What if it did not merge above? Well, we would have this shape come out, which would have to come down. So we would have the L shape regardless. And then this would come out. And is this valid? That is. Okay, nothing I can work with there. So even though we could have a barrier in either of these places, would it be possible for all 3 of these to merge? Which is essentially the same as asking, does this shape go down? Right, because then all 3 would merge. If that were the case, we would either have a duplicate shape or a duplicate shape. So no, this piece does not go down, it must go over, which means this must go out by at least 1. And because we know these 2 don't merge, we can actually draw a line here, which says this must go out again. Yeah, stop complaining, it's gonna merge eventually. This will then continue here, where it could make one of 2 shapes. No, it can't make this shape because it'll leave behind 2. So it is gonna make this long L. Well then, I guess we still don't know if this will merge up and make this L piece or merge over and continue down. I guess no matter what, this must continue down. Oh, these also must connect. There's no way around it. It's just, it might go down like this. And because this went down here, this piece must make it to this cell. And it's either gonna fill in all 6 or do this U, which means this piece must come out. And it actually can't continue further because then we'd have a size 1. So it must be a 6, which means this must come down, which means this must be filled in. And then we're never going to have a T piece here. That's a duplicate. We could have a matching piece like this. So no matter what, this piece must go over, whether or not it merges. Wait, can't this be solved by counting at this point? Right, 2 6s and a 5 fill in the rest of the space. So I think the 5s have to merge, right? You can't have 2 5s just based on math. It doesn't look like it. So that's going to be complete. Then this shape must at least go down here. And I guess I'll just check to see if these are unique shapes. They are not, which means the only other option is this one, which creates another 2x3. Oh no. Wait, no. There's other options, right? Yes, the other options are that these 2 merge, which they... No, that's a duplicate. But this is not, and that completes the puzzle. There we go. Wow, that was awesome. And we're only getting started. I've got another new mechanic that also has a 7, but I want to ramp up to it with a 6. Difference. The number in the diamond indicates the difference between the areas of the region. So it's another mismatch and range. 2 to 5, but we don't have any ranges of 3, so that's not helpful. And we can't really use 2 and 1 next to each other. Like, it doesn't mean it has to be 5, 3, 2. It could easily be 5, 3, 4 or 4, 3, 2. What I do know is that the mismatch rule means there's only 1, 2, and 2 3s. And if there is a 2, there must be a 2 or a 3 adjacent to it, right? Because it's either 3 to 5 or 2 to 4. So that means 3 shapes next to a 2. And there's a lot of 2s. Actually, to be honest, the only way I can see all the 2s being hit is long piece, elbow macaroni, too long. I don't see any other way to do it. And yeah, the more I look at it, there's no other way to at least cover one side of each of the 2 pieces. So that's really nice. And now the rest of the puzzle is 4s and 5s, which if we have a 3 by a 2, the other must be a 5. I'll just do light, and I can do that here and here as well. And then next to a 2, you gotta have a 4. And then if there's a 1 next to a 4, now we know it's gonna be a 5. Okay, now a 1 does mean a 4 next to a 5, but I don't know which side is which yet. But I guess I can again use the fact that there's 5 4 pieces, right? Like we know these 2 4 pieces are never gonna connect, but we do need to have a 4 piece that touches every single one, which actually they're not that spread out, right? There's a 1 here. There's 1s here, which could all be covered by this long piece. 1 there, and then a 1 there. There's only 4 of them. That I feel like is actually not a great route to go by. Do we have to use every 4 and every 5 piece? The grid is a 7 by 9, which is 63, which is not enough to fit all the pentominoes. So there may be some of each missing. I feel like this part is really stumping me. Maybe I'm one big breakthrough away. Like I'm trying to wonder if there's anywhere I could force a 4 shape or rule out one, I suppose. This 0 is interesting just because it feels like we're going to have the 5 leading into it, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. It could be a separate 5 or even a 4. So I don't know. Okay, this is a weird idea. Can I at least calculate if there's an odd or even number of 4 shapes? Because we know it's size 63. The 2s and 3s make up 8, so that's 55 remaining, which is an odd number, which just means there's an odd number of 5s. It doesn't say anything about the 4s, but let's think of like possible combinations that could add up to that, right? 4x plus 5y equals 55. It sounds like to me, actually, because you can only deduct by 5, like you could have 11 5s and 0 4s, although we know that's not the case, because the parity works out that way. That means we would have to have all 5 4 pieces and then 7 5 pieces. I don't think anything else satisfies that equation, you know, besides 0 4 pieces. So does the fact that there's only 7 5 pieces help me? Well, I don't know. I guess what it lets me think about is the fact that, okay, we need every 4 piece. So where's the long piece and where's the 2 by 2? Maybe those are points of attack. Could we ever have a 4 piece here in the 0s? Bring that out, then we'd have 5 piece here and here. The main thing though is we would have other 4 pieces there, which I don't know. We're starting to run out of space. We can have the L piece here. We can have the T piece. Oh, I guess this could be the S piece. This L piece and then the 2 by 2. That's also valid. I guess the saving grace is if you take it a step further, you'll see it's wrong, right? You have a 5 piece and then either a matching 5 piece, which isn't the case, or 5 piece, and then we're just gonna simply run out of space or duplicate pieces. So I guess, unless if this 4 piece were to just go down, then all of a sudden we are fine in space because this piece would go like this and that's fine. Gosh, I can't do anything. It's all possible. Like this could be a 5 piece, right? Well, I guess what's interesting then is that we would have 2 4 pieces here. Does that somehow change up things? Then we would be guaranteed to have 2 4 pieces on the bottom. And then we would need one in the upper left, upper middle, and upper right, because it's got to be on one of the sides of this line. So that means this must be a long piece. And then Well, I guess you could do these kind of pieces. It's a 2x2 again. Okay, that's interesting though, that all roads lead to the 2x2. Does that mean the 2x2 has to be in the upper right? Because I realized, like, if we did the 2x2 here, these aren't going to be accounted for. And yeah, actually, no matter how you spin the bottom, you're going to have 4 pieces on the bottom, either here and here, or here and here. So that means this has to be the long piece, or well, it doesn't have to be a long piece. This has to be a 2x2. All roads lead to this being the 2x2, which then 5 piece and 4 piece, which then forces this to be the L. And the last of the 4 pieces are just going to be next to the ones. These are always going to have to be 5 pieces then, which is perfectly fine. This must extend out. Yeah. It'll merge eventually, probably. This actually has to merge right away, because if it didn't, this would have to extend out and that'd definitely be way too small. So you merge, and the furthest down it can go here is here. We know these two must merge. This must go at least once more. This has to merge here, because otherwise it would leave behind a 1 piece. And then this does have to be a 5 piece, right? Actually, I'm pretty sure this has to be the L piece, right? Because we're either going to have 2 4s here and here, or here and here. So the 5th one has to be this. So that means, yeah, we are doing 5 pieces around the edge. Gonna go straight down, and then make a U. That means it's 5, and then 4. Which means it's gonna come into here, which means these are 4s. Which means this must be the T piece. This must come in, and then we have just the S piece left, which we determined for earlier can go down. This must go up. This must be a P piece. And then, how do I get 2 unique shapes from the remainders? It would look something like this. Wow, nice puzzle. I think I'm just about ready for the level 7. I'm glad I had that warm up though, because now we got non-boxy indifference. So no rectangles, which means the minimum size must be at least 3. But these 6s on the bottom are ridiculous. What? Oh, I feel like the 6 probably means it's going to be a 3 on the outside, and then at least a 9 on the inside. It could be a 4 as well. It could be a 4 and a 10. I don't know, because like we could have the 9 do this, for instance. We're already up to 8. It's not known, but we do know it touches a 3. So on the other side is at least a 6, which, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of crazy. Okay, here's the problem with it being a 10. It's the fact that these would have to fill in here, and then we would still need 4 more cells, which is just bound to create disaster. Like, best I could hope for is 1, 2, 3, 4, which at least doesn't create any immediate contradiction. But I mean, come on. It's bound to do something. Surely, like, this being a 7 is going to cause issues. Oh, yeah. It's going to come out to either of the sides. And it's going to have a different diamond between the 10, no matter how you slice it. So that 7 is always wrong. Therefore, it must be a 3 and a 9. Now we're at 8. Which way is it going to go? Don't know. My guess is towards the 5. So it's a 4 on the other side. But I don't know. Either way, this is definitely a 6. I guess we have to also ensure there's no 6 contradictions. Yeah, but there's a lot of different ways the 6 can go. So I don't really feel comfortable even trying to deduce that. I guess one thing is that the 6 must never touch a 4 unless we want a 10 on the other side. But here's the thing. If like this is a 10, this has to be a 7, and how is that happening? It's not. If the 6 touches a 4, it would otherwise promise a 2, which is a box. So actually, we can confirm this 6 does go up, right? Because it can't extend to either of the 4s. So then it touches a 3. I'm pretty sure it's got to be a 3, 3. Do we think it's ever a 9? Huh, that's kind of wild. It's just the 9 then would promise at least the 7. And I don't know, we're dealing with some big numbers here. That's kind of scary. Or even an 8. And then it would have to go up and then keep continuing somehow, which I don't know. Feels like it's a disaster in the making, but it's technically fine. It again just feels improper to be following that down. But I technically haven't ruled it out of being a 9. Maybe I could go back to the 9. If the 9 were to go left, I don't think this is going to be a 12 in here. That's too much. I think it's going to be a 6. But then we couldn't have a 2 on the other side of the 4. So then we'd suddenly need another 10, and something doesn't feel right about yet another big-ass number snaking through here. But if it goes to the other side, we could do like a 4 then an 8, which I feel like is a little bit more manageable. The 8 could hang out down here. The 4 could do 4 things. Yeah, an 8 touching a 3 makes a 5. 8 touching a 5 makes a 3. It feels better, but it is just also a vibe solve. I feel like I have to be able to do better than vibes. Okay, here's a good lead, actually. You can't have a shape go like this because you can't have two numbers have two different differences. So I guess that does mean then if the 9 goes one way, the 6 has to come the other. So what would I rather? 9 and then 6, probably 3 and then 7, and then probably 4 and then 5, which all makes sense. The only thing is we have to be wary though of the 6. The 6 must continue at least to across the 2, and then all of a sudden we're staring down a 4. The 4 is not merging with this 8. I don't know what I thought was here before, but it would have had to have been an 8. So is the same thing going to happen if we go the opposite way? All right, we have a 9, and the 6 must come down, which would then become an 11, and then a 7. Have this come over, this be off, and then we'd probably need a 6 and a 10, which would then have to come into here. Hold on, something's not right either, because the 6 is going to have to be on the other side of that 1. What's going on here? Okay, the bottom is going to be 6 and 9 somehow, but then this must continue over, so this has to be a new shape. And then that shape would continue over. So which way is mathematically possible? It's either going to be this or the mirror of this. Okay, well, 6 minus 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8, which is not 8 away from 5. 6 plus 2 is 8, though, which is 4 away from 4, which is 5 away from 5. This actually works. And if it works, well, we already proved the other one doesn't. I can double check, but I'm pretty sure the other one won't. Right, where we would go 6, 9, 6 has to go this way. Like 6, let's say it goes to 7, 7 here. We're not going to have 7 and 9 be 4 and 3 away from the same number. That just doesn't work out. Okay, awesome. So that's a huge start. And the 6 has to go in this pattern because, again, you can't either be on the same side of both lines, and we have to be aware of it being on the same side of two differences. Right, so this 4, this 8, and this 6. Well, there's no way this 8 is blocked off here, because then it would go up, and then we'd have 6 and 8 on the opposite side of a 1, which is not the right difference. So we have an 8 and what I presume to be a 5. But considering that there's a 5 right here, it could just as easily be an 11. But no, I think it's most likely a 5, because the 8 would come down and also meet the 5. We're already at 7, so I guess it'd be something like this. And then it would have to do this for 3. So 3 and then 4. Right? Is that the only possibility? Well, I guess we know the 8 doesn't go up because then we'd have another 8, which again is going to be on the opposite side of a 6, which no good. And then once this comes down, I can at least do a little bit more with the 4. Bring the 8 out. We know that's a 5. I guess there is a choke point here. So you're never going to get 5 and 10. So it's pretty much always going to be 8 and 3. Which could look like this, 8, and then what I could do is 4, and then 3 and 3, which I'm pretty sure is the only possibility. I could double check, but I'm pretty sure that's the only way to do it. Let's think about like the number of cells in here, okay? If the 8 makes a choke point here, there's going to be 6 cells remaining, which after the 4, there's going to be 5 cells remaining. So there'd have to be a 3 and 2 1s. And the 7 can at most make one of them, so it's not going to ever go there. And if the 8 were to go down like this, we would have 3 remaining cells for the 4 and... Actually, can we do this? No, that makes 9. So that won't fill in. So therefore, it's got to go through to here. And then over, blocking that. 4 can't go over, because then we'd have either a box or the wrong number. 4 must go here. And since 8 must go up, we're leaving behind 7 cells. Could be a 3 and a 4, but that's not going to fit when this is the 3. So it's going to go over here, and then we're going to have 2 3s. Proving what I was pretty sure of. This 5 must come up. Could be a cross from the 0. I think it actually has to be a cross from the 0. Yeah, it has to be a plus, otherwise it's going to be leaving behind a 1. So we have a 5 here, which actually makes sense with the 6. Right, 6 and 5. Oh, no. No. What's happening here? Something quite terrible has happened. This is in fact wrong. Okay. Damn, this puzzle's hard. Wait, Could the 8 just go down here? Yes, it could. Okay, that's the other possibility. That's what I was missing. This is a 3. Now we can cook. Is there any world in which the 6 goes over and then this also becomes a 6? We still need a 5, but we could fit in a 6 like this. No, we can't. It leaves behind 1. And we're not going to have space for a 5 if we do that. Only get it 4. So therefore, 6 must go up, leaving this to be either a 5 or a 7. And considering it continues to go up, I don't think it's going to be a 7. Because that would make this a 7, and then this somehow a 7. It just doesn't add up. It has to be a 5. 5, and this must be a 5. And how many spaces are in here? There are 8 empty spaces, so it's just 2 5s. And I actually don't think these merge, because it leaves behind... Oh, I guess we could do a 5 like this and a 4, with like the remainder. Or even another 3. Okay, all right. But they are both 5s. Well, this could come in once, it could not come in twice. Which means that we could have a 5 and a 4, but not a 5 and a 3. All right, just maybe taking a step back then, seeing how this 5 expands will dictate the right side. We can look at the 6. 6 matching to 3. It's just not going to be a 9, right? It comes out, and then 9 forces at least the 7. This 9 is going to have nowhere to go really fast. Can't ever go down. Can't have 2 different numbers on the 6. Can't be on both sides of the same line. I guess it could come around here. But yeah, then we'd have like a 7 running through, and that 7's going to cause trouble, which it could be actually just fine here. Wait, a 7 would work. Oh no, and the more I'm looking at it, the more it actually kind of makes sense. The 3 actually works with the 7 and the 6. Oh no. I guess actually, whether or not it's a 9, it has to be a 9. Oh my god, it actually has to be a 9. Here's the logic behind it. There's gonna be one shape here and a second shape here. This shape's gonna come down. This shape's gonna go up. It's never gonna go here. I guess if it is a 3, this shape could not go up. Well, yes, it could. If it's a 5, it would work if it's a 5. Ah, damn it. It would work if it's a 5. I was just thinking like, oh, we gotta have 3 here and then 7 here, but then that's still fine currently. We could even be on the other side of the 2. I guess that does work. How dare you? Okay, but that's not the point. That's not the point. We're assuming then this is a 9, which must continue. It's not going to go that far that way, so it's at least going to break over here, and then here. That's the 9. Orange would have to be the 7, which would then do all this. 9 would come down. We'd have a 3 here. 7 continues. 3 goes down. All this is looking fine and dandy. So then we probably have a 4 here. The 9 is going to be just fine. Yeah, I guess we can't prove anything with that either. It's a hunk of baloney. Except that there's a line here and a line here. Whoop-de-doo. And these 3 are part of the same shape. And these are part of the same shape. Yay. Here's a question. If this 5 ever hits either side of this line, could I really support a 9 in here? We have 7, so it would have to, at some point, extend here. Which means that this other red would somehow have to be a 7 or 11, which doesn't work. So, okay, that's important. So that means the 5, in fact, does not go to the 4, which means it must extend like this. And then we're going to have a 5 and a 4 in here. Okay, cool. What is on both sides of the 4 then? 3 and a 7? That's one possibility. And I feel like it's actually the most likely possibility because it makes those shapes. In fact, if the bottom number is any bigger, it's just going to block the exit, and then the top number won't be able to flourish. And the top number can't really be the small one because the bottom number, well, okay, let's say the top one is a 4. Can we ever do 4 and 8? Have to be like this. Well, no, if it's an 8, that does not work well with the diamond 2 because the red, again, is either a 3 or a 9, which means purple here must be odd, which is not possible unless if it's 3 and 7. Nothing else works, which means actually this is in fact 9. Well, how about that? All right, bring the 7 up. I guess that does make some things more manageable then. Bring the 7 out. This is a 3. 9 still has to continue to the 2. It's going to extend here, so we'll make the 9. Complete that 7, which I should probably make blue at this point, to here. Bring this out. There's the 7. There's the 3. On the other side of 7 is just going to have to be a 4. We're not going to have room for a 10 and another shape. So 4 will do this. And then 4 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not a difference of 2. I can't do math. 4 here, and then it'll be 3 and 5 because those are the only shapes that fit. Wow. I think the strategy would have been better if I had further explored, almost made better notes of what the number possibilities could be. Like saying the red is either a 3 or a 9 and then going from there, I think helped a lot. Very tricky one to end it on, but these were some wonderful puzzles. Tune in next time for more level 6 and 7s. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next video. Have a wonderful day and peace.